you so much for being here. I'm going to tell a story back to you that I've seen you tell, that this story starts where Alex Gibney calls you and I think says, Orwell, you in? Which is a very intimidating sentence to me. That's a lot, but it sounds like you kind of said, sure, I'm in. How did that phone call lead you to this?
Well, that's the kind of phone call you can't say no. You're being offered everything, access to, the full body of work of George Orwell, a name that, each one of us have heard or read one of his book as a kid. So you can't say no to that.
Yeah.
It's a rare occasion.
Yeah.
So at that time, I didn't even know yet what the film could be. But I just knew, you have a big box of candy and Christmas gifts. You're going to do something.
So it was the rights to everything. You were given George
Yes.
Orwell in his entirety and told
Yes.
find a story in that,
Yes,
which is
published, unpublished,
wow.
private letters, etc.
Yeah. Is that the thing that happens often with documentarians? You say, yeah, this isn't right for me. I'm going to give it to you. I mean, the documentary world is small. Is that a common occurrence?
Yeah, well, that especially those last 7-8 years, that happened a lot. Project that circulate because one filmmaker say no, and then they tried another one. So there is like a group of filmmakers who gets those project offered, and in that particular case, it was Johnny Furings, former Universal, who called Alex because there was an issue with deadlines of the some of the work were going to be open to the general audience. So yeah, they thought of Alex, and they asked Alex, who they would thank as a director to do that. And I was already working with Alex, so wow, he said, "Are you in?" And how can you say no?
Well, will you say the last 7 or 8 years, is that since I Am Not Your Negro, that there have just been projects that come to you like this, and did that kind of raise your profile in a way that gave you a lot of these options?
Well, of course, I Am Not Your Negro was. Because of its commercial success as well as critical success, yes, it did bring me a lot of work, even though I had already my own list of films that I wanted to make. But it did make things easier, and I could ask for conditions that I needed to make them. There was less struggle and, final cut. That's for me.
Yeah.
I've made all my film. I produced most of my films, and it's a condition. It's a freedom to go and look for the movie. And take the time you need. And not just make a product.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those last years there were a lot of products made. And I don't think it's good for documentary filmmaking.
Yeah. How hard is it as a documentarian to get final cut? In general?
Well, it's in the U.S. It's difficult.
Normally,
Normally in the rest of the world,
Yeah.
it's a normal. You trust the artist, you trust the director, you trust the person that really wants to make this film, and it doesn't mean that when you have a final cut that you are a stubborn artist and filmmaker. No, I love to have discussion, and then you show your film at many different moments in your edit to new eyes. So it's a good to have an interaction. What I think is more difficult, it's when people out of different reasons tell you to cut this or this, or because they don't understand something, they want to force you to change it. When something doesn't please somebody, I try to understand why. And usually you find a creative way to solve it or to go around it.
It's a conversation, not
exactly.
a mandate.
That's a conversation, that's a teamwork, and whoever is financing is part of the team. But it doesn't mean that you have to be bullied.
I mean, watching Orwell 2 + 2 = 5, it's about George Orwell, but it's about everything. It's so big. It's so all these keys of what he wrote that unlock the modern world. And I wonder if you ever thought it would be a film that's more about totalitarianism or AI or all of these different threads, or if you always knew that it was just going to, Orwell's work encompass so much that you had to tackle all of it.
Well, the first thing, unless you want to be lost, because there's too much, you have to find the story you want to tell, and you have to find what is your own private, intimate, organic relationship to the thematic or to the person or to the writer in this case. And once you have that, or you have a vague idea of that, then you have a sort of vertebra to look for the stuff you need for that story. You know, you can't go in so much, a huge body of work and not knowing what you're looking for. You know, you're gonna be lost. So that was the first exercise. You know, to find what do I know about this man? Do I know him even? And so I tried to find part of his work where he's really talking about who he is, why he's a writer, what kind of writer he wants to be, what is the fuel, pushing him to be a writer. And very early on, I found one of these essays that I think I might have read it like 20 years ago, but it's called Why I Write. And it's an incredible confession of, a writer telling really, not hiding anything, and even telling the flaws of being a writer. You can be a writer for the wrong reason, for some ego trip, for recognition, and he and that's when he says, it's also about injustice for me. Injustice is something that I can't function with. And you get all this motivation, and then you feel that, okay, I'm starting to get to know him.
So it was injustice, that vertebra that you're talking about, like that idea that suffused everything else?
Yes, and because he was confronted to injustice very early on, and being on the wrong side of justice, because he was a colonial soldier in Burma. Meaning, he's 19, I think, and he's bullying older peasants, women, and he has to assist to hangings, etc. And he's seen by the villagers as the bully, as the colonial army. And for a young man from England, being in that position, it's a very insecure. And if you're honest with you question your position. And that's what he did. He had the courage to do that.
I think we so often want to be able to show people the error of their ways and have them understand they're participating in an unfair system. And I think history shows over and over again it's very hard to do. How did Orwell become the person who figured it out? I mean, obviously he was a brilliant man from what he's done, but the scales fell from his eyes in a way that it does for so few people. Yeah,
but for me, I think the key was the very fact that, first of all, he was born in India. So that was this photo with his black nanny was important.
It opens and closes the film,
yes,
more or less.
It's like it's open it and close it somehow. And it was important because I know that image. I've seen that image so many times. And I just finished another film about South Africa, and where there is a sequence about black nannies taking care of blonde little girls and treating them like their own children, or sometimes even better. And the contradiction of that. And that was for me really a key moment, because I understood what Orwell must have felt as a young baby even, knowing, because it's the closest things to you, to your intimacy, closer than your own mother, And so I could understand how he grew up, and how, living somewhere else teach you to discover the other. Whereas if you stay in your country all your life, the other is always something mysterious, even maybe an enemy or somebody you have no connection to. But when you in your life you have traveled, you have met other people, you start to even better know your own country. There is a human knowledge that you gathered, and I felt immediately that Orwell had it, and then to come back to Burma after that as a soldier, that made it even worse, because now he knew he was on the wrong side. And then throughout that, all his life, he decided that he would always question any position he's in, and that's what what makes his value in all his writing.
Well, and in this film, you revisit modern-day Myanmar, which Burma was, and you just get the sense of the past and the present colliding. That the past is not past at all, and it's so vast. Especially in the beginning of this film, you're just showing these atrocities, horrible things happening around the world that all just feel thematically linked to what he's writing about. Did those dots connect for you early? Were they always connected? I think you've thought about and made films about colonialism, so maybe they were always there. But why did it just seem so clear that all of these things are kind of the same thing?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I construct my films layers after layers. I don't know where I'm going to end up in my editing, but I start from from scratch, and the first thing is to find the text, to find the storyline, like I would write a screenplay.
Yeah, because all of the dialogue, everything said in the film is Orwell's words,
Yes,
so you have
it's
to find
exclusively Orwell, except for the card in front and the last card.
Yeah.
But that all from me. But otherwise, it's that's the exercise. To really stick to Orwell. I'm not replacing him, but I have to go as deep as possible in his thought, in his emotions, and also I have to find a story. I'm not making a biography. I'm making a story. That means with a beginning, a middle, and end, with a character in that, and with even multiple characters, which means I have to develop those characters.
Yeah.
And of course, Orwell is a central character, and I have to find a moment where his drama, his dramatic curve, is most intense, which is in that case I chose his last year in Jura, where he rent a farm, a very isolated farm on an isolated island, to finish 1984, which will be his last novel.
Yeah.
And he's sick. He's in and out of sanatoriums. So it's a dramatic, I would say, ground for me to tell the story, and then it allows me to digress to all his other books, which is exactly what I did for I Am Not Your Negro. I found this moment in the life of Baldwin where he was in the middle of two tension, writing a book, being a writer, and being a chronicler or a witness, as he say. So, and when you have that, it gives you such freedom to revisit everything.
Yeah.
And the film become a mosaic.
So that vertebrae you're talking about, you find
Exactly.
the thing and you can build off of it. I wasn't necessarily expecting AI to be part of this and part of Orwell's work. I really wasn't expecting an AI blues song, which was a kind of an incredible magic trick, honestly. And AI is just something people obsess about and fear, and it's such a major topic. And of course, Orwell saw it coming because he saw everything coming. But when did it become clear to you that AI was going to be part of this film?
Well, AI was at the center of all our lives already, but I'm old enough to have survived different waves of new technology. I still remember my first internet email. And by the way, through college, because at college were the only place you could use internet.
Oh,
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah. You have to go to
before
a place.
AOL.
Yeah, you got to go to the computer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I knew that one of the key things is never let the technology overwhelm you. And once the technology is taken by the capital, which means to make profit, that's where the dangers come. The technology in itself is not dangerous. It's how you use it. And now, of course, it's almost an abusive relationship already. It's an addictive relationship, and you have to find your distance to it and be transparent. So, of course, that was an important thematic because it's related to newspeak of Orwell, to the fact that they are telling you what you know, and what you know out of experience is not what you see. It's the constant changing of your identity, of your reality. You don't know where you stand, and AI, of course, is participating in that with the fake, deep fake, etc. So, of course, if we don't stay away from its profit aspect, if we don't stay critical to all is being built around it, the selling of it, the marketing of it. That's what makes it terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what fits into the kind of authoritarianism of
course.
right, it's been coming from the top and being told that, you know.
It's like, well, they sold you soap. They sold you, like the famous U.S. American breakfast. It's a PR invention. You know, all those things that you need to drink milk every morning, it's a PR invention.
Yeah.
All of it. And it's not so far back away. It started during the beginning of the 20th century, where they discovered that publicity and PR is key to sell products.
Yeah.
And it never stopped since then.
Well, yeah, what you're saying about this, all of this feels kind of new. AI feels new, but it's all old. It's all been happening for a really long time. Like when you make this film and you connect all these dots from across time, there's not a hope in it. Obviously, there's so much darkness in there, but just knowing that humans are going to act in this way, and it's not a new thing that we have to face, and therefore maybe we can figure it out. Is there some kind of hope that comes out of doing that work?
Well, I try not to use the word hope because it excludes a little bit your thinking process. What I try to do is connect dots so people can come to a solution by themselves. By the way, you have to come to a response by yourself, because I'm not your teacher, I'm not your predictor. It will be efficient if you come to that yourself, and if many people come together to the same result of how to deal with this or to resist to this. So I connect the dot because I knew how powerful you can feel when you know your history.
Yeah.
When you know how things are connected. How, all my life, I knew that the Congo is connected to the wealth of the United States. I know that the dictatorship in my country, Haiti, is connected to the United States since our existence, since our independence in 1804. If you don't understand that relationship, if you don't know about the Monroe Doctrine, that says more or less America belongs to United States of America.
Yeah.
And that's still the case today. So you can't really think properly, you can't really analyze a current situation. So for me to know history and connecting, we are the same planet. There is no, like, the new world that was sold for us.
Yeah.
The new Americans decided that was a new world, like it's separated from Europe.
Yeah. You bring all your old stuff in a new place. Yeah.
But, so as to forget, well, genocide existed already in Europe, and it was brought to this continent as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's knowledge. You need to know in order to decide, to analyze and make decisions.
It sounds like that a lot of people see your films and ask you what to do. Saying, you made this movie, you showed me how everything is troubled, what do I do now? And it seems like you have to resist that and let people do it for themselves.
Yeah, because what does it mean? I become just another, seller of soap, No, you have to come on that on your own. And also, what I profoundly know is that sometimes people have, what to do or, what is our hope? I said, it will be whatever you decide it to be. History is not something like you stay on your couch and you wait it to happen. Anything will happen if you do nothing. That's what it is. But if you start acting, it doesn't mean you're going to win or you're going to, but doing nothing is for sure whatever will happen will have no contribution from you.
Yeah.
Is it what you want? Because that have shown in history to what catastrophe it can lead to.
Yeah.
And when you see, in fact, recently, the rise of Nazism in Germany, it took Hitler less than 10 years to become the leader that he became.
Yeah.
Because many years since the 30s, 33 people didn't, he's a funny guy. He will never succeed. Let him continue, and we will always control him. And we have seen it again and again happen in history.
Yeah.
To ridicule even even though he have written all about it. Mein Kampf is the exact replication of what he was going to do, including concentration camps.
Yeah.
But people don't believe it.
If you don't learn your history, you're doomed to repeat it. It stays true through all of these things.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for making this film and for coming to talk about it, and thank you to everyone for watching.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.